They are at the 44-yard line of the Chargers. Taylor out to the left side. And Ricky Waters to the right. And a play fake. Young goes deep middle. He's got Jerry Rice. Touchdown 49ers. First touchdown of the game. Comes after only a minute and 24 seconds. 44 yards. Touchdown pass to Rice. He sets another record. How can they leave Jerry on something like that?
Alrighty. Well, good evening, Niner Empire, or I guess our show is good morning, but it is our evening edition of our morning show. I'm your host, Jaymie, joined by my co-host here, Jason. Say hello.
Hello. How's it going, everybody?
How's it going, guys? Thank you guys for joining our Friday news roundup show. And there goes my mic.
Cat has decided that Jaymie does not need to be overly heard too much.
No, I am sorry about that.
Was that the cat?
She probably got off the desk because it fell off my arm.
Oh, I just saw her move at the same time, and I figured it was that.
Yeah. There we go. You good? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Did it just fall?
Yeah, I was trying to tilt it more towards me, and the little thing that's connected to my desk fell off for a second, but I got it now. Okay, sorry about that. That's an interesting start to the show. Thank you for joining our evening show. Good morning, Niner Empire. So Friday news roundup for the week show kind of thing, where we talk about the pressers leading up to the upcoming game, and preview the upcoming game, and go over the injury report and all that fun stuff. So, you ready to get into a few pressers that we have?
Let's ride.
Ride.
The whole Russell Wilson thing has been just hilarious the last couple of weeks with how bad and obviously living in Seattle, it's just a joke up here with the whole let's ride thing. It's so hilarious.
I didn't watch the game yesterday. Was it that bad?
So, really? Obviously it wasn't a good offensive game when we played the Broncos. It was infinitely worse with those two teams last night. It was just might have honestly been one of the most boring games I've ever watched, in my life. It's just bad. Just bad. And next week it gets better because you got Washington versus Chicago. I'm like, ugh. Thursday night games need to just stop. I'm tired of Thursday night games. The games suck. They're terrible for the players. It's time to just move on. I was gonna watch the game, and then I saw Twitter being like, what is this? And I'm like, maybe I'm not mincing too much. Yeah, you don't want those 3.5 hours of your life for watching that. Russell Wilson's old. I mean, I shouldn't say Matt Ryan's old and decrepit. Russell Wilson's not as good as everybody thought he was, kind of a thing. So it was ugly.
He is struggling very badly in Denver, I will say. And I think that's just a testament to oh my God, I'm blanking on the wide receiver's name. Oh,
DK Metcalf?
Not DK,
Lockett?
Lockett, Tyler Lockett. Yeah. There it is. Yeah.
Lockett's a very underrated wide receiver.
He is. He was very, very reliable for Russell up in Seattle. And in Denver, he has Jerry Jeudy and
Courtland Sutton.
Courtland Sutton, yeah. So, they're decent, but they're not DK and Lockett. So,
yeah.
Wonder if that's impacting anything.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well.
All right. Well, go ahead.
I was saying, enough of the Broncos drama.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was about to say too. All righty, let's get into some pressers. All right, here's the first one from Shanahan about injuries.
What Elijah and Aziz have. Eric Armstead with the split/ankle. He's still being evaluated right now, so don't have any new information for you guys yet. Juwan Jennings had an ankle sprain in the game. He'll be day-to-day this week. All right, guys. Injuries from the game.
Alrighty. So that was kind of just a quick overview. I do have the injury report or the practice report from today pulled up. So Eric Armstead is officially listed as out. He left near the end of the Monday night game. Davis Price still out with his ankle injury. Devon Kinlaw is out with his knee. Tyler Croft is out. Colton McKivitz is out, and we will talk a little bit more about him potentially later. Tavarius Moore, hamstring, out. Trent Williams with his ankle is still out. Nick Bosa is good to go. His day off was not injury related, so he is fine. Ross Dwelly, rib, he was limited on Wednesday and Thursday. He was full participant Friday, so we will see. He's probably more game time decision with that. Juwan Jennings, which Kyle just said in that presser, he is day to day. He was limited on Wednesday and Thursday. He was full today, so we will see. And then Danny Gray had a hip injury, probably a stinger or something. I'm not 100% sure. But he has been full participant Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So he's probably going to play, I'm guessing.
He's trending towards playing right now.
Yeah, he's trending.
A big thing from that so far, it's with Armstead and Kinlaw. Obviously, both starters are out, but we have the rotation in there right now that's holding up pretty damn good as we got the number one defense in the league. So I'm not going to say it's a huge drop-off or anything like that, but we have the interior defensive linemen to cover up that slack for a couple of games.
Yeah, it sucks because Armstead and Kinlaw are pretty solid players, and you'd want them out there. But since our defensive line is so deep at that position with our players, we're hanging in there, and we're doing all right.
It's the reason why we have like 15 people from the defensive line.
I know it's a little bit annoying that we keep drafting defensive linemen, but it's working.
It works so good.
Doing. I know. Because it helps all around. So there is that. Here's Shanahan a little bit more on Kinlaw.
He put up a big fight to try to play on Monday, but he wasn't that close to going. But he wanted to work out before the game, so we gave him a chance, and we decided to be a lot safer to wait this week and see how he reacts. He put up a big fight.
All right, so that's on Kinlaw. As we know, Kinlaw has the knee. I guess it's like a irritation in his knee. He's had a lot of knee issues. That's even during the draft. Like a lot of us know, he was red flagged by a lot of teams, and a lot of teams passed on it because of his knee issue. And stuff like that. So it's a bit of a bummer. I hope he's able to play at least a little bit soon, but he's definitely they're definitely going to be playing it safe with him when it comes to his knee. So
right now we have two winnable games coming up with the Panthers and the Falcons, probably more so the Panthers. So if we can get everybody rested up in the next couple of weeks before we start getting a little bit more into the meat of the schedule, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Have those guys ready to come back, about the same time that TDP will be back. So we'll get some reinforcements.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. Well, speaking of reinforcements, here's Shanahan on Jimmy Ward and Jason Verrett having their practice window open this week. And here we go.
They're eligible to return this week. We expect to get them out there tomorrow. They're eligible to return.
Alrighty. So that is that. Very short. Did they end up practicing this week, like officially?
Yes, they did.
Yeah?
Both of them did.
Both of them did? Cool. I am very I don't know who it was. I was talking to somebody and they were afraid to I am very curious to see Jimmy Ward in the backfield with this defense, with how Hufunga's playing and I'm blanking on his name.
Gibson.
Yeah, Gibson are playing so good. It's really solid in the back. Very curious to see how that all turns out, and then how Mosley is doing solid at corner and stuff like that. I'm very curious to see how Jimmy Ward and Jason Verrett fill in with this defense. Very curious.
Yeah, I don't think Vernett's going to come back necessarily this week per se.
Mm-hmm.
With his injury things, I would let him get as much rest as he can right now. We're okay on the corners side.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, when it comes to safeties, I think Hufanga's number 2 ranked right now, and I think Gibson is top 15. So it's like we don't necessarily have a bad safety tandem back there. So if anything, I can see him maybe doing a sort of rotation with Gibson and Ward to work Ward
Mm-hmm.
back in slowly before taking. But I mean, it's almost like you don't, to an extent, you don't want to mess with what's working right now because Gibson's having an amazing year alongside Hufanga. So, like I said, I'll see a rotation and see how it goes. But it's a good problem to have. And then, like I said, Jason Verrett, when healthy, is a top tier quarterback. Again, when healthy, but we'll see what happens when he comes back full.
No, for sure. That's why I'm like, I would love to have them back, but I'm also like, do you really want to mess with what's working right now because they are playing at such a high level? And do you want to mess with the vibe that the defense overall has right now with the players on the field? Because they are playing very, very high level right now. Alrighty, moving on. Here's Shanahan on left tackle.
We'll see how this week plays out. Really haven't discussed it yet, but most likely it'll be Jalen Moore, but we know Dan's always an option. We'll see how this week plays out.
All right, and that is in reference to Colton McKivitz, who is out this week. I know he got injured in the Monday night game. I cannot remember how it sounded like it was pretty serious. Did he it's an MCL sprain? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Same thing that TDP has.
Okay. So he's probably going to be out for a few weeks then.
He's probably going to, I wouldn't be surprised if they stash him on IR and come back in a month or so.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a bummer because I heard I caught the second half of the game for the most part on Monday night, and I know he was playing pretty well and stuff like that. But yeah, so we'll kind of have to see like this team has a good mentality with the next man up. So we'll see who they decide to have start at left tackle. So
I think it's gonna be more.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Next thing is Shanahan on Bosa getting held.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. It's something I've seen a lot with him since he's been here, going back to his first year in the Super Bowl. So it's always been tough with that. But yeah, we turn everything in every week, and sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't. But that's kind of the standard quo when anything has to do with that, and you just hope it improves. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't.
Do you have any thoughts? Because it's becoming quite a thing with Nick Bosa being held every game. I've definitely seen it, and I'm terrible at catching those things when I'm watching the game sometimes. But I have definitely seen it. Do you have any thoughts?
It's not even. It's not even been hidden anymore. Like, yes, you can almost say that every player is being held, but with Bosa, a lot of times they'll hold inside like this when they get control. They're straight up putting the man in a headlock, and I can watch it on TV, and they've blatantly got his neck, and they're doing this to him, and it's just like you see a ref standing 3 feet away looking in that direction. Like, how do you not call that hold? It's completely obvious. And it's like I said, if you want to say the hands are inside on the jersey, something like, where they're doing something like this or maybe underneath, okay, you can get away with that. But every other play, they've got their arms up underneath his chin, having in a headlock. And to be honest, Bosa is still getting pressure on the quarterback. So, I mean, not to it's like he already leads the league in sacks. Right now, I think he's on pace for like 27, 28 or something like that. So it's like, if he's on pace for that when he's being held every play, imagine what he's going to do if they would actually, play by the rules. It's a joke at this point that he doesn't get more calls for him. It really is just it's a pathetic joke.
Yeah, it's like I am terrible when seeing stuff like that, but it is very blatant. And Kim, it's very blatant that they're holding him because, like you said, it's headlocks. It's very obvious, and the fact that he is still getting pressure despite being held, and sometimes it's even two guys that are holding him, because they're trying to double team him, and he's still kind of getting through a little bit.
I saw the stat the other day. It was like Bosa gets pressure on like 32.6% of the time. That's just Nick Bosa. That doesn't include the rest of the defense. The next highest team is at like 31%. Team. So it's like he is out pressuring the entire team, every other team in the NFL just by himself. So again, with blatantly being held pretty much every play that he's on the field. That's how good of a season he's having.
It's wild. It's very wild. I am so glad. 2018 was a very dark season, but I'm so glad we were able to draft him in the 2019.
Right, that was the biggest blessing this guy's franchise ever had.
For real. Kim says Bosa is seen as a threat, and everyone knows it. Yep,
him and his brother are nuts.
They really are, both of them. And the scary thing is I remember when Bosa was coming out in the draft and everything, they said he was going to be better than Joey, and Joey was already
he is Joey. Yeah, I think he's better than Joey right now.
He is better. Yeah. It's wild. All right, let's see. I think we have one more. Okay, and then one more, and this is Shanahan on right guard rotation.
We just Brunskill just got back for the first time in about a month. He's done real good versus these guys, and Spencer's done a hell of a job too here in this month. But we planned on mixing him in there a little bit just so he didn't have to take too many reps. But I'm not sure how it ended up. We just Brunskill.
Alrighty, so that is talking about the interior O-line. Since we do have some injuries on the O-line, we're kind of having to shuffle some people around a little bit. Overall, though, I do think that the interior O-line has played pretty well. Has not been as much of a problem. I think that a lot of people were worried about at the beginning of the season. They've been pretty solid. I think that was. Do you have any thoughts on this at all, Jason?
I think between Brunskill and Buford, I think Buford ended up having one more snap overall between that rotation. I'm kind of surprised that we're not going to kick Brunskill back out to tackle while Trent is out and just let Banks and Buford hold down the middle, who they've been doing a pretty solid job right now. Even McGlinchey, everybody gives McGlinchey shit. He's ranked number 4 or 5 in the league right now when it comes to overall tackle play. So it's like, and the weak spot is obviously going to be Jalen Moore. So I'm kind of surprised that we're not kicking Brunskill out there.
I do wonder, since Shanahan said that Brunskill's just coming back after a month of not really playing.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's part of it.
He really did not look good out there.
Maybe they will if it keeps up. Maybe they won't feel like they won't have a choice and they have to throw Brunskill out there.
Well, they've been keeping Kittle in a lot more for pass protection and run blocking in general. So there's still that when it comes to, you could always – Kittle's by far the best blocking tight end in the league. So, keeping him in is basically a 6th lineman. So we can definitely do that all day long.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. But yeah, I'm actually pretty surprised that despite the injuries and the hiccups that we've had on the O-line, that we've been playing pretty well. There, we've held on pretty solid while we've been going through all of this stuff. Yeah. So we'll just have to hope that this week it works out and all that jazz. All right. Well, that is all of the pressers for that one. Are you ready to talk a little bit about this upcoming matchup with the Panthers?
Yes.
All righty. All right. Let me get the injury report, practice report off. There we go. All right. So we play the next two games are the Panthers and then Atlanta. We play in Carolina this week, correct?
They left a couple hours ago to head out there.
Okay.
I'm kind of surprised they waited so long on a Friday night to fly out there. I figured they'd fly out early in the day.
Is it do you know if it's a 10 a.m. Game or is it a later one?
It's one of the early games.
It is one of the early games. Okay.
And it is the last time. No, excuse me. We play in Atlanta or at home? I don't remember off the top of my head. No, yeah, we're playing in Atlanta. So, and then after Atlanta, we don't play East Coast time for the rest of the season.
Okay, cool.
The farthest we go out is Mexico City in Central Time for when we play the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, so it's great.
Yeah, that's good. Do you think the team is going to stay out east?
Yeah, they are. They've already said that they're going to stay out east.
That's smart.
I've never understood why teams fly back. It's like why fly back just to go right back where you're coming from? So just stay there. It makes it so much easier.
Even if you're not find a city halfway between the next one, that you're gonna play, But even with this Carolina Atlanta one, it's very easy. They can just drive down to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's like a 3-hour drive between the two cities.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so it's probably gonna work out pretty well, for the most part. So, yeah. So, what is your biggest take? Your keys to victory for this game?
Well, the Panthers are, to quote Charles Barkley, terrible. They are not a good team for pretty much any aspect of it. They've got problems starting at quarterback. They had the whole thing with Sam Darnold. Baker Mayfield got brought in late. Baker Mayfield, he's thrown for 750 yards. He has a QBR of 15.3. So when you think about how bad that is, the league average is 50. That's the league, that's Jimmy's at 33. So as much as, we have an issue, a lot of us play with how Jimmy's play, Baker Mayfield, he is twice as good as Baker Mayfield. That's how bad Baker is. He is just not good at all. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, but he has decent weapons around him. He's got Christian McCaffrey, who, a lot of we know around here, when healthy, he's amazing. He's one of the most versatile backs in the last 10 years in the game. But he can't stay healthy for more than a handful of games every year, if not just gone for the whole year. Christian McCaffrey actually is leading them in catches over their wide receivers. He has one more.
That's wild.
Yeah, so he's got one more than Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. So Christian McCaffrey has 19 catches, 138 yards, and 1 touchdown. Anderson and Moore both have 12 catches, 170 yards, and both with 1 touchdown. So, yeah, it just tells you if you shut down Christian McCaffrey, their offense doesn't do anything. So there's not much to talk about. Their defense is 19th in the league. So it's towards the bottom end of the league. Let's see what else got there. They're averaging 358 yards a game. They have one good player. This is going to be the defensive end. Is it Brian Burns? I believe. Yeah, Brian Burns. He's probably going to line up right over Jalen Moore the entire game. I would suppose so. So we're probably going to be putting Kittle next to him most of the game. Other than that, their defense, it's led by the most part by Frank Lavue. He's got a couple of picks. How many tackles did it says he has? And actually write down, but he's a decent middle linebacker. But overall, they're kind of their defense can't do much when they are on the field so much to begin with. So the name of the game is just keep their keep the offense on the field. Their defense is really not going to stop you. The offense does not scare me at all, unless for some fluke reason Baker Mayfield starts playing, but I don't see it.
That is interesting. So basically, their offense runs through McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. So as long as we shut down McCaffrey, we should be fine.
If he doesn't get hurt.
If it doesn't get hurt. And then as long as we wear out their defense, we should be. Because if that's their only good players at defensive end, Burns, and he lines up against Moore, they're definitely keeping Kittle right next to him to help keep blocking.
Yeah, it should be a really easy coaching adjustment. You bring in Kittle or anybody kind of a thing and just, double team them. And like I said, they've got some good sure-handed tacklers, but for the most part, their big player is going to be Burns.
Okay. So this should be, on paper, this looks like a game that we should win pretty easily.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because I totally even forgot that Baker Mayfield was on the Panthers now. Like, I remember him getting traded now, but I totally spaced that he was there. He's the starter, right? Over
Sam Darnold, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Sam. I'm willing to put money on you'll see Sam Darnold in this game. If this defense plays the way it has been playing, we're going to see Sam Darnold in this game. There's no reason to keep Baker out there if they want him around long term as a starter. Mm-hmm. But also, if I'm Sam Darnold, I don't want to get in this game at all. What's up, Beto?
Beto, hello.
I think I hit it the same time you did. I'm out.
There we go. Hello. Yeah, I will be honest. I have not kept up to. I see a little bit about the Panthers, not too much. But I wasn't honestly. They're having. I figured that their offense was running through McCaffrey. I know DJ Moore is a pretty solid receiver, but I feel like even with his he doesn't have a reliable enough quarterback to be able to probably really do anything.
I actually had I was kind of excited when Sam Darnold got there because I actually think Sam Darnold could be a halfway decent wide receiver, depending on who's throwing the ball. And I actually thought him and Sam Darnold might have been able to put something together this year, depending on what if they had drafted better with their line and stuff like that. They obviously didn't, and all the stuff with Baker and this and that. So Sam Darnold just needs to sit. If I was him, I'd wait for this contract to be over, go sit somewhere and just maybe get another chance. Like kind of like what Teddy Bridgewater's getting over in Miami now that Tua's down. Just wait your turn basically.
Yeah.
But.
I feel bad for Donald. He kind of got a rough go of it up in New York, and then now here in Carolina, he kind of got put right in almost the same kind of spot.
Oh, for sure. There was almost no difference between coming from New York and if they had stuck with Darnold and did the same rebuilding that they did, like they do with they have around Zach Wilson, I think he would be a much better upgrade over Zach Wilson.
Yeah. So Niners asked, what is the topic of the evening? We are previewing a little bit of the 49ers Panthers game this Sunday. So if you have any thoughts, anything in particular you want to talk about, feel free to comment and we will go over it. Give you a few minutes to do that. But honestly, my biggest thing is with the time zones for our guys, because we do not play well early morning East Coast time. With that adjustment, we struggle a little bit. Honestly, that's our biggest thing. I feel like if we play anything like we played against the Rams, we should be fine. Because we played surprisingly very well against the Rams. I know I didn't get to do a post-game show for that or anything like that, but Debo's Debo.
And then that's what to say about the man.
We're playing at 1 p.m.
That was
Is the Atlanta game the 10 a.m. game?
I thought it was 1 p.m. Eastern, which is 10 a.m. here.
Hold on.
I thought everything was thrown out of whack because of the game, the Monday, not Monday, the London game. But
that is a possibility.
Because I thought this was the one that was kind of weird with the West Coast stuff.
Let's see, calendar. Sunday.
Because I know that there was supposed to be one game they had where it was 1 p.m. Eastern, where it would have been 10 p.m. Eastern. So like I thought it was 1.
Okay, so the Panther game is at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. The Atlanta game is the 10 a.m. our time.
Okay, so I got the games mixed backwards then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's actually better for us, because they will be, because since they are staying out east, they will be adjusted to the time zone by the Atlanta game. So that shouldn't even be a factor, or anything like that. So that's good. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it is something. So yeah,
these guys should be used to flying back and forth. People make more of a deal out of it than it really is.
That's true. I don't know. I just thought about that because this is our kind of big, fully over on the East Coast, like completely over there, part of the season. So, yeah.
So for the betting stuff, the Niners are favored by 6.5 points, and then the over under is going to be 39. I'm betting under on that. I don't think I could see us scoring like 30, like getting high scoring points. I just don't see Carolina putting up enough points to get over on that one. So I'm betting the under on that for the 39 points.
Yeah, we potentially could, but yet Carolina I don't think would be getting close to that.
But we could cover our half, but I don't think they could cover up the rest to get to 39 points. Minus it just being an absolute blowout on our end. Like we win 45-0, or then I could see it. 34-10, I could see that one. I don't think they'll even score 10 points unless they get something late in the game, maybe. But like I'm willing to put money. I'm putting my money. I've already bet on the under.
Yeah, no, I feel like I could definitely see that 34-10, something kind of like that. If our offense struggles a little bit, I could see it being like 28 or 21-10, something kind of like that. Where we're still gonna win, but
if we get a lead, we're just gonna run the ball and just bleed out the game. So that's the reason why I don't think going for the over for me would do it, because if we get up 14 points, it's just hand off every game, every play.
Yeah, that's definitely something Kyle would do for sure.
Yeah. And then for the fantasy points, for the fantasy stuff, if you have Niners, put them in, including the defense. I think it's going to be a big game for fantasy points for everybody. I even have Jimmy in right now. I had held on to Jimmy in my Well, I did it on purpose. I held Jimmy in my dynasty league, so that when he eventually got traded to somebody, that I could get something in return, all that kind of stuff. But I think he's going to. He actually, because I have him, Mariota, and Patrick Mahomes as my quarterbacks. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes stays in every week. And then I think Mariota last week got like 3.4 points, and Jimmy got like 19. So I'm like, what?
Okay.
So, I mean, Jimmy is
19's not terrible.
I'm sorry?
19 points in fantasy is not terrible.
Yeah, for a quarterback, it's kind of low. But when you're in a two quarterback league like I am, you usually have one elite quarterback and then a couple of mids to kind of fill out. So I mean, like I said, I think Jimmy last week and this week, I had him in both times. He got me a decent amount of points. I think he's going to have another good game to where, he's going to throw for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is a typical Jimmy. That's going to be anywhere between 15 to 20 points, depending on how many touchdowns and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I'll take that over what, Mariota. So that's what I got for right now. And then, like I said, Debo's probably going to get points. Ayuk's probably going to get points. I don't think to be honest, I don't think I would start Kittle just because of what's going to go on at the tackle position. So I'd probably keep him off because he's probably not going to get as many targets as he normally would, just because we're going to keep him in. Like if Trent was out there, I'd probably start Kittle in this one, but I wouldn't start Kittle. I probably would. Yeah, The more I think about it, I would start Kittle for fantasy. But Jeff Wilson, I would, I'd start Wilson.
Kittle's interesting because he's definitely not. It's definitely he's been quiet this season so far. So, and I do think that I love that he's such a good blocker, but I'm also like Kyle, let him run, get him the ball.
He's like you want to see him get them good plays.
I know. So, but if it sounds like Moore is starting. If he is starting, then Kittle's definitely going to be his number 2, helping him out on a lot of the plays.
And Kittle's actually said many times he would rather pancake block somebody than score a touchdown. He gets off on that, so he loves getting hard hits and stuff like that. So I mean, people are like, oh, he's going to get bored of this. I'm like, no, Kittle loves hitting people on the line, so he's fine. He doesn't care.
Yeah, no, Kittle's good. Alrighty. I agree with this also could be another potential score, 21-6. Could see something like that. Yeah.
I think that's more close to what it's going to be.
Yeah. I feel like it'll be in between like the 34-10, 21-6, somewhere around in that.
Vito, I'm always down, brother. I'll be in your. You've seen me quite a few times over in your podcast. I'm always jumping in there when I know you're live.
For sure. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Sickness is a good podcast.
Shout out your podcast, and we'll post a little tag on here and stuff. Yeah. No, you have anything else to talk about, Jason?
Nothing new, but just to end it all, this should be a win for us. Again, Carolina right now is an absolutely terrible team in disarray. There's a good chance Matt Rule gets fired after this game. They have lost their last 24 games or something like that. I mean, it's bad, and the whole team has no identity. Anything goes right for him right now. Trading for Baker Mayfield was a complete dipshit idea that made no sense at all. Definitely. This should definitely be a win for the Niners. Like I said, got to put this week and next week should be those 2 games to where, yes, Jimmy had no training camp, but with these 2 opponents, these should be the 2 weeks where he starts getting rid of those that rust and getting more in a rhythm before we start getting towards some the meat of the schedule here shortly. So let's come out, no more injuries. Let's get everybody back healthy, and that's it. That's pretty. Like I said, it should be pretty cut and paste, but it's the NFL, so we got any given Sunday on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we came out and played so well against the Rams, I think definitely. What's funny is we kind of flipped. We used to be such big rivals with the Seattle, but I feel like, especially after the last few years, it's becoming more 49ers-Rams rivalry. Those 2 teams hate each other, though.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, the Rams were terrible for so long. So we kind of just went Seattle got good. So, Seattle, we went up more against, or it ran up more. The rivalry went more towards Seattle. But now that Seattle's starting to fall, the Rams are good. They've been went to the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl and everything. So now it's back to them. But to me, the oldest rivalry for the 49ers, it's between 2 teams. It's either the Cowboys or the Rams. To me, you can't. Those are 1A, 1-2. But because Seattle got so good in the early 2000s, or 2013, 2014, we were good at the same time with Harbaugh, so that's where it rose up right there. Me personally, I live in Seattle. The Seahawks are still the number 1 rivalry. I can't, I live amongst the enemy, so it's always going to be the more intense rivalry for myself. But I also know historically it's either going to be the Rams or the Cowboys. Yeah, one or 2. So
I definitely watched more football when we were rivals with Seattle, when that rivalry was very high in that 2012, 2014, 2015 era. So I know that we have a big history with the Cowboys, but and I don't like the Cowboys, but Seattle just bugs me in a different way because of the rivalry, because I watch those games live and all that stuff. So
try living here.
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't. Yeah.
When we beat the Seahawks, that's good enough because that game was down there. But when when the game is played up here in Seattle in December, that's a whole new ball game. Like, I'll be out everywhere. I carry the flag everywhere. I talk all sorts of shit. I don't give a damn. Damn, you've been to all 5 Super Bowls? That's pretty badass. I ain't even gonna lie. Much respect for if you've been to all 5. I mean, I've been alive for all of them, but I've never been to a Super Bowl. I've only been to like 5 games total my entire life. And when I go down this weekend for the Dolphins game, it's the first time I have been down to Levi Stadium. It's been that long since I've gotten to a game. I went to Candlestick a couple of times, but I've never been to Levi's. So this is one of the reasons why I'm so looking forward to it, because as long as we've been at Levi's, I've never had a chance to go down there until this year.
I've been to Levi's for a U2 concert. When was it? Before 2019? So I think 2017, 2018. Yeah. It's a very nice stadium. I like the stadium. I unfortunately never got a chance to go to Candlestick because it got torn down before I could go, which is a bummer. I've always wanted to go, but just haven't had a chance to go out to a game there yet. But we'll see. I mean, I like Levi's. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a nice stadium. I know that some fans don't like it, some fans do like it, but I think
Sickness, that's badass. That's all I can say, man. That's badass.
That is very cool. Very, very cool. Alrighty. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap it up here for tonight. We're about 45 minutes, so we're pretty good. All right, so definitely follow Niner Faithful Radio on Twitter. We're Niner Faithful R on Twitter. We're Niner Faithful Radio on, I believe, Facebook and Instagram. So if you're on and then we're Niner Faithful Radio on YouTube, and I believe we're Niner Faithful Radio on Twitch.
Yep, we are.
If you find one of our social medias, I'm sure there's links.
They're all connected. Yeah, just Google it.
Yeah. So if you just Google us, we'll pop up. Shouldn't be too hard to find. That is really about it.
Thank you, Beto. I'll pop up in your next one depending on what time. You go on later than I get up crazy early for work, so a lot of your shows I'm already in bed for. But like when you do your weekend shows, I usually try and pop in.
For sure.
And then Sunday morning, TJ will be on 9:00 for the pregame.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be on at halftime as usual, and then Jaymie will follow up at 9:00 Pacific time for the postgame. Yes. As long as you get out of work on time.
That should be fine. I should be there for the post game. The reason with Monday is I go into work later on Mondays and Tuesdays, so sometimes I have to stay in. Yeah, so because I normally open on the weekends, so that's why I get out at like 5:36 normally.
It's like me doing the halftime show. Halftime, I'm like, I want to go to sleep because I'm so used to halftime is literally past my bedtime. That's how early I go to bed.
Mm-hmm. We will definitely hit you up. We got your email right there, so we will definitely see if we can coordinate something and figure something out.
I got you on Instagram and Twitter. I'll hit you up on one or the other.
Yeah, so look for a message from Jason and we'll figure something out. So thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will see you guys next week for Good Morning Niner Empire, and we will see you on Sunday for all of for the fun game day shenanigans. So as always, go Niners.
Go Niners. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.